Hey everybody, Jamie Starr here, New World News Network. Tonight I'm supposed to do another interview with Martina Marcota and or Lady Alchemy, and you can check out some of her stuff over on the Proud Boys website. Con artist is her new thing. We'll get into all that and do updates since the last video, the issues over the other video. And we're kind of going to talk about I want to do a video on itself, and I don't want this to be the video of it. So I'll probably do another one where I reiterate some of this. But I think we're at the point where I see the Civil War. I saw it specifically. Remember when Ivanka Trump got stopped by those guys on the airplane and harassed or whatever by the gay couple? That's when I realized this is the Civil War. This is the divide. They've made it over Trump. They've made him be the figurehead of it, sort of. But it's a divide between more conservative, libertarian, alt-right, whatever, and these sort of radical leftists and everything encompassed under that. And the whole thing is, though, it's really just a war of sort of incivility. And you have a generation of men that aren't really men. So that's why it manifests itself in this sort of being harassed by a gay couple on a plane, these Antifa people smashing some shit out with a hammer while they're dressed like ninja warriors and shit, like... You know, you got the guy who punched Richard Spencer. Turns out he's like some chick's slave and into being a human toilet. Like, these are the people we're dealing with. And you also, though, have it where other people... Now, I first heard about this video watching a Stefan Molyneux video where he's interviewing Lauren Southern, and then it popped up on the side, the Andy Wardowski... however you say it, his video on it, which I was watching. And so finally I figured I would just cover this video myself, because there's something that bothers me about people who, you know, everyone gets lumped into the communities, especially on YouTube, the libertarian community, the atheist community, the whatever community. And one of the things, even though there's plenty of these atheist liberals, classical liberals that I really like, there's a strain of regressiveness that you always see sort of go through all of them, and it'll sort of slip out, where they'll sort of start rationalizing the behavior of the people we all know and love them for making fun of, basically, where it'd be like, you know, if they've made a ton of videos ridiculing Black Lives Matter, and then next thing you know, they come out and they start being like, oh, well, you know, Black Lives Matter, yeah, there's a few bad apples, but that doesn't represent all of them. Like, there's nothing between them. That's just one guy. You can't blame one person for the actions of everyone. Not all. Hashtag not all. So I think this is what's going on here, where we have Thunderf00t commenting on Lauren's amazing coverage of the Antifa anarchist communist protest at Trump's inauguration, and you're going to have Thunderf00t first try to identify Lauren Southern as alt-right, as if that's a smear of some sort. Because here's the crazy thing to liberals. They're not paying attention to anything enough to think, wow, we've been calling Republicans racist for as long as I can remember. But now that we've made this alt-right, now that this alt-right has sort of been thrown out into the mainstream vernacular, well, they're the racists, and the people we were accusing of racism, your McCain's, Rick, Perry, Romney, all the usual Republicans, that we're racist. Well, now they're not racist. They're the Republicans. And we're all right with the Republicans because they're against Trump. So anyone who's conservative leaning but sides with Trump, well, they must be alt-right. And that's where you get the accusations of the thought crimes of, well, maybe this person's a racist, maybe they're sexist, maybe they're this, maybe they had a phone call with someone who has a cousin who's Russian. Like, that's the point we're at, that it's just over the fucking top as far as that stuff goes. So anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get into this video, and I'll make my commentary on everything all at once. It'll be this marvelous 3-in-1 layering where I will be able to comment on the protest itself, Lauren's coverage of it, and Thunderfoot's critique of the coverage of it.
Lauren Southern, and she's going to show us how a real journalist functions, how a alt-right journalist functions.
You already hear the pretentiousness. How real journalism. Yeah, this is real journalism, first off. I bet you didn't see CNN, ABC, CBS, alphabet news agencies with CIA that Hillary was working in conjunction with. Like, we know where it's at. Everyone knows. If you don't know, that's a personal problem. This is what real journalism looks like now in this day and age. But you already hear this condescension. One of the things I was going to say in general about people in the sort of liberal atheist community, some of the commentators, and I think it permeates through the people I can't stand watching, like The Amazing Atheist, for one, where they've sort of got this, like, they think they throw around like buzzwords like liberals do, you know, diversity and equality is like, they have, well, reason and evidence, facts and reasons, logic, you know, and not saying you shouldn't have all of those things, but then what they'll do is they'll sort of like, I don't know, it's so weird to me because they'll get very dogmatic with their views, like especially as far as ones that refute religion, and then you'll just be like, okay, but it's all theory. Like, I'm with you with some of it, but some of it, like, you're showing me a pile of bones and telling me a fairy tale. But as long as they have these parameters that they've bunkered down to be like, oh, well, you know, logically speaking, if you're, like, I had someone once try to tell me that because I'm saying there shouldn't be gay marriage because, you know, things having to do with childbirth and it being a religious thing, and that there is an important element in the government where there are certain incentives to have children, and it's supposed to incentivize a society that will reproduce up to, you know, the replacement rate and all of this basic stuff. And from that, they deducted where they're like, oh, well, if it has to do with kids, then we shouldn't let heterosexual couples that can't reproduce get married then, right? That's logically what you're saying. And it's not at all. It's them sort of bunkering down in these things where it's like, okay, you're saying this, I can't really say anything against it, so I'm going to take it to the next level and say that that's what you're implying. Obnoxious. So you're going to see Thunderfoot kind of bunker down into regressive tactics with this, and like I said earlier, it reminds me of the rationalizations you'll see the regressives do of the violent strain in the Black Lives Matter movement, and so forth.
Functions by covering this anti-Trump rally and just how violent it was.
This is the worst form of protest I've ever seen. Oh, rocks! Oh, they've got...
I'm just going to say, again, like I said, it's the Black Lives Matter thing. He's going to harbor down into this, and I assume it's because he views himself as anti-Trump. So he doesn't like hearing that this is an anti-Trump rally, so he has to identify them as other, something else. No, they're not anti-Trump. I'm anti-Trump. Anti-Trump, we're a peaceful movement. Those are anarchists. Those are communists. I mean, as if they just we're organizing a march on Washington on Inauguration Day. Nothing to do with the inauguration. No. We just, people are going to be around, so we thought it'd be a good time to fucking cover our faces like ninjas and smash shit up.
Got rocks here. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, yeah. Let's. Hammers. Holy crap.
This shit is crazy in general. I couldn't believe this when I saw it. The people just running around, breaking shit, smashing shit. I don't know what they're looking to accomplish. Tear it all down. That's tear it all down and share whatever we don't smash. Like, this shit is retarded. I want to start making like comedy parody stuff of this. I saw Mike Cernovich talking about it, and he said the best thing to do would be to troll the event and make it look like it's a big Nazi rally. And I think that's what should be done with it. Is I think it should be like, oh, I mean, they do push violence. I have pictures I'll get into later. And again, the whole covering their faces bit and everything like that, I think it shows that, I mean, the whole bit is just actions of a bunch of pussies. You look at like a Second Amendment march, whether it's, like the Black Panthers, they might have wore shades or something like that. But when real men are going out, like, the chances are there's a rifle on their back and they're not covering their face. That's one of the reasons, not to try to paint an equivalence, but when I started my channel, because I was a fan of, am a fan of people like Sargon, there's tons of great people, Bearing, Armored Skeptic, people who just use an image, and I think it's good, and I think it has a different effect, but I wanted to make sure my face was saw with all this, so everyone knows there's person, anyone can do this, everyone should do this, but, so there's personal connection there. So.
Holy fuck, riot police are coming in. Oh my god. This is what the anti-Trump movement is. Oh my god, the rock just flew by. How did we let hate win? That is the sign that man seriously has on his sign right now while they are smashing windows and attacking people. That is the sign he has. How did we let hate win? No, we conquered your hate and oppression of the American people.
Yeah, there's just one tiny tinsy problem with this, Lauren. They're anarchists.
This is what the anti-Trump movement is.
Calling anarchist an anti-Trump rally is kind of like calling atheists anti-Christians. Look.
Here's the funny thing about this. Isn't there a symbol for anarchy? And isn't it like an A? Does anyone see any anarchy symbols in there at all? That flag, I'm pretty sure that's the anarcho-capital or anarcho-communist flag. And from what I've been hearing, this was a combination of like Antifa, these anarcho-communists, which, presumably, like I said, would be burn it all down and then let's share their remains. There's presumably radical socialists in there, probably a bunch of people who are just along for the ride. They're all a bunch of pussies. And yeah, but, well, they're anarchists. How would you expect the anarchists to act? I mean, it's very. Am I the only one that's reminded of like the crazy rationales you hear for what goes on at Black Lives Matter protests? And it's like, oh, well, that doesn't represent the movement. That's not, I mean, yeah, it happens at every march and big protest, but that doesn't represent the movement. Like,
It's really not hard to show what a whiny bunch of babies the Regressive left are. In this case, literally whiny babies. This was from Trump being sworn in.
That for all of that resistance, for all of that opposition, Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States. President Obama.
I mean, I wouldn't want to tell someone holding a microphone how to be a reporter. But the first giveaway that they're anarchists is that they're all holding anarchist flags. You know, clue?
Okay, so apparently they're bulking up and they're going to charge this police line right over here.
Yes, apparently anarchists have flags now. Just like this anti-Trump rally, or this anti-Trump rally, or this one, and going back well over a decade. If not, the second big giveaway is that they're the archetypal black bloc.
alright. So, I didn't know he gets into that bit on the flags. This is what happens when we watch these things together. But, as if the Women's March the next day wasn't an anti-Trump march, it was just a women's march. Like, do you still see the tactic that's going on here? Where it's this trying to paint it one way, like this was, it's just an anarchist march. It's not connected to what's going on right next to it, or why everyone's in town, or it's not they just decided to do it that day. Like, the women just decided to show up the next day. Like, I don't know what's going on here. I'm really confused.
Block. This is something that the anarchists do. They get together all wearing black, covering their faces, making it harder to tell them apart and harder to get prosecutions. Third giveaway that they're anarchists is the big A that they're carrying and wearing. But for some reason, Lauren doesn't notice any of this and just reads out the old narrative-fitting banner.
There are rocks flying. Oh. How did we let hate win? That is the sign that man seriously has on his sign right now. While they are smashing windows and attacking people. That is the sign he has. How did we let hate win? No, we conquered.
Seriously, you didn't notice that protest that just marched past you were all carrying giant anarchist flags.
You notice how he's harping on this? As if, I mean, again, like, this would be like the very next day. Think about it. If she covered the Women's March, and she was like, well, this is a march. They're anti-Trump. They're all out here. They're anti-Trump. And he did a video response being like, they're not anti. They're women. They're women marching. This is what, Jay? You saw the titties and you couldn't tell they were women. Like, this is. I mean, maybe is it a bunkering down in identity politics? Is that what's going on here, Thunderfoot? I don't know why people do this. I heard in the one video he was a Hillary supporter, so like I said, I think it's a personal defense where he might be feeling like he's being lumped in, or, oh no, maybe these people will start to represent me, how, I see her as alt-right for whatever reason.
Or you just didn't see that as an important aspect of this story. No, you were too keen to say this was what the anti-Trump movement was.
This is what Antifa is. This is what the anti-Trump movement is.
And here's the crazy thing, is she just said, this is Antifa, the anti-fascists, the anarchists. So she even right there acknowledges who they are, but Thunderfoot doesn't understand that it was an Antifa anarchist communist event. He didn't know about Disrupt J20 or any. He doesn't know the story that everyone who would be watching Lauren's video knows. So he's doing everything he's accusing her of. Where he's going with a narrative. She doesn't know what it is. She doesn't know what it is. This is what Antifa looks like. I hope everyone's laughing with me, because he just went on a 3-minute tirade for her to just acknowledge what it was, but he's unaware it's the acknowledgement that he's looking for.
Or you just didn't see that as an important aspect of this story. No, you were too keen to say this was what the anti-Trump movement was.
This is what Antifa is. This is what the anti-Trump movement is.
Seriously, Lauren, this was not what anyone was fighting against in the election. The choice was not Trump or anarchy. The people burning cars were not writing H on the car to show I'm with her, but curiously A, which is what anarchists have been doing for decades. I mean, really, if I wanted to be as honest as Lauren Southern here, as responsible in my reporting, I would say that this was a
Because there are other protests, that doesn't make the Black Lives Matter rationale. Because a mentally disabled black kid was bullied with a coat hanger, that means 4 black kids kidnapping a mentally retarded white guy and torturing him and putting it on Facebook and all that. That's okay. Now we're sort of even, but not because of slavery. He's gone full regressive here, and it really shows that some of these people who are calling everyone regressive don't even understand it, or even at least see it in themselves, where, but maybe it's because they've just been able to sort of navigate it into identity politics, and the left is sort of having a civil war of its own, where you have the liberals who have identified the social justice warriors and the feminists and the blah, blah, blah. And, they have to, it still is in that dynamic to them, where it's all identity politics. They're just on a better side than the rest of them. There's still the sort of pretentiousness and just protection the whole way. And then she doesn't acknowledge it. She doesn't acknowledge it. She doesn't acknowledge it. This is Antifa.
Pro-Trump protest.
January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again.
Wow, he sort of sounds like one of these anarcho. Here's the there was Facebook trending stuff that day showing this very line of his speech. I wonder if he's going to show this, where it was compared to Bane. And so, Trump's up there talking like Bane, so really these people should be supporting him.
Because look, they're spraying a Trump slogan on the cars before they smash and burn them.
January 20th, 2007.
Wow, this is devolving right into the usual regressive tactics. Of just like trying to loosely connect things and be like, oh, well, they want for the people. Trump, this says we the people. Trump once said we the people. They're connected. So what is going on? This guy's embarrassed himself with this one.
17 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. As the day the people became the rulers of this nation again.
And of course, the fourth big sign that they're anarchists is they're smashing up a Starbucks. And lastly, you know that they're anarchists because they're being followed around by a group of photographers going around specifically to photograph them smashing up stuff because it makes good news. And of course, a lot of them are pretending that it's a very dangerous place to be.
Time before, Oh my God, they've opened fire. Oh, it looks like things are getting very heated here. This is not a safe place to be.
Wow. That's crazy that this guy's doing this. Because he's an idiot, first off, and he's kind of wrong about all of his points and his assumptions. And now he's just kind of trying to be a dick. Because there was riot gear. There were people arrested. Like, it's not like shit wasn't going down or wasn't being smashed. Like, how do you go from, like, a scene of a dude in Starbucks with a table covered in glass and then being like, huh, but these people are faking it about it being dangerous. Arrogance.
And now sports.
Despite the fact that anarchists are notorious for smashing up property and not so much for actually hurting bystanders. I mean, honestly, I've been in Prague for New Year.
You want a pat on the back? Like, what point is being made? I've been somewhere else, so that must have been all right. This is so wild. This guy is someone who makes videos about logic and reason. Wow.
It is total anarchy in the streets right now. They're blowing things up.
Do you see what this guy's doing here? He literally went from a scene of some shit on the fly with all this smoke going off.
It is total
sirens,
anarchy in the streets right now. They're
cops flying into this mess of whatever's going
blowing
on
things
down
up.
here. And then to his fireworks on New Year's in Prague. Because this is unbelievably loud. Oh, both were loud. Both were loud, so therefore, logically, they are similar, so I can refute this one as if I was there, because I went to New Year's in Prague. Oh, man. What is going on?
Yeah, watching anarchists smash up a property doesn't really quite fit the same bill. Really not something that you need extra security for.
If you've seen her other videos at protests like this, she's been attacked by people dressed in all black who cover their face. She's attacked regularly when she's had piss thrown on her. I mean, at this point, this guy just looks like a dick who's unaware of Lauren's history of being attacked. What the fuck?
I mean, damn, every man, woman, and dog was out here filming this protest with their camera, and all of these other journalists didn't need extra security. But
how do you know that? How do you know that? You don't think any other news agency? I mean, they would bring extra security after what happened in Ferguson nowadays. What are you talking about? What a crazy claim to just feel so confident making. No one else had extra security. What are you talking about?
But for some reason, Lauren did. It also beggars belief that Lauren Southern can be following around an anarchist protest and unironically say several times that, oh no, this is anarchy.
and also acknowledge that it's Antifa. Do some Googling, buddy. Know what's going on before you want to comment on it. Know who you're talking about. You're going to see your numbers drop. That's what's going to go on.
They're smashing the Starbucks windows. They are smashing the Starbucks windows right now. This is complete and
Look at mocking extra security. Look at what happened to Richard Spencer. He got blindsided by a dude who eats shit. Thunderf00t.
anarchy. It is total anarchy in the streets right now. This is not peaceful protest. This is anarchy. They're smashing Bank of America.
With that, Lauren Southern has reached the title of dumbest reporter ever. To actually watch an anarchist protest go by with their anarchist flags and unironically say,
This is not peaceful protest. This is anarchy. They're smashing Bank of America.
this
To comment on a video where Lauren Southern does acknowledge that it's an anarchist movement, Antifa, and for you to make a video continually harping on this point as if you've got some sort of gotcha, when you even put in the clip of her rebuking your point, might make you the dumbest commentator ever.
This is anarchy by this anti-Trump protest.
This is what the anti-Trump movement is.
Dumb.
Oh, he removed the "this is Antifa" before that time, but he showed it in the earlier one because that refutes 90% of this.
Dumbest reporter ever.
New Jersey this morning.
Hey, guys.
Michelle, good morning to you.
Good morning. Well, obviously we're getting a nice break from the rain, but not the flooding. This is essentially now a part of the Passaic River in this neighborhood.
I don't know, maybe it's just one of those things. Putting on a lab coat does not make you a scientist, even if you go around and tell everyone that you're a scientist.
When did the creation actually occur? And of course, we're going to go to the Bible.
Likewise.
And you notice how there's this sort of fallback to the atheist thing, where it's like, this is like saying atheists are anti-Catholic. Or this is like this guy in a lab coat talking about the Bible. Gotta bring it back to the comfort zone. That's what the white male privilege is. That's what the patriarchy is. Back to the comfort zone. Because everything's through a lens. Always. Always. You can say you're not a regressive all you want. But to the people who are actually on the other side of you, we still see it. You just think because you've separated within your own side that you're not like them. But you are. That's why you're on that side. It's that simple. Really. And this atheist shit, I just think it's unhealthy. You shouldn't be so firm in your beliefs of what you don't know. Because you may not think there is a God, but you can't really prove to me that there isn't. And I'd rather acknowledge there's different possibilities. I'd rather not, start crossing things out. I mean, it might be a giant turtle, for all we know, but there might be something out there. We might have been made by aliens. Who knows? I don't.
Ways, holding a microphone and telling everyone that you're a reporter does not make you a reporter. But it occurs to me that this...
but going to Molenbeek and, all over the world covering stories, doesn't make it her a reporter either. Putting out a book doesn't make her a reporter. Thunderfoot, I think you're feeling a little insecure. I think you're jealous. Something's going on here. You're not being logical or rational. You think you've got this gotcha, and now you're just trying to harp in on weird pseudo-personal attacks that are typical of liberals. Oh, now let me attack the rebel. Let me attack the institution. Now let me,
raw footage, which of course isn't raw at all, it's edited.
Especially young, white, middle-class Americans. You hate them. You're smashing their buildings. It's unreal. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, we're going the other way.
Like, for instance, this bit, where she's talking about the black bloc, and then they cut in some footage of the non-black bloc supporters, because, you know, you've got to fit the narrative. And then, of course, we cut back to the black bloc in the streets again. Yeah, that's the raw footage. Might be a little misleading into making people think that this anarchist protest was actually best described as an anti-Trump protest. Let's take a look at the comments, shall we? New dream job, riot police at social justice warrior rally. Yep, so for Lauren Southern's audience, this anarchist protest is now a social justice...
Oh, so now, and you know, this is the tactic they did on Milo, where because the followers did or said something, well, that reflects bad on everyone and everything. Because you're on the other side of me. You're not like me. You're not in my cult. So, I'm going to use all of these crazy tactics that actual rational, insane people know are crazy. And you're just going way off the deep end. Don't ever call anyone regressive again. Because these are the tactics, just left and right.
Warrior rally. Laughed my ass off. Starbucks is a liberal company. I got the point. Mainstream media, this is what you've created. These are Americans who truly believe they are fighting against an evil leader who's taken over their country. Well, yes, kind of. Unfortunately, anarchists believe that about all leaders of the country. And maybe the most funny of all, Lauren Southern, I love the way you tell it like it is. Criminals, you call them, and you couldn't be more right. Yada, yada, yada. And then the last line just takes the biscuit. What a joke. Keep up the good work. Stay truthful, girl. I mean, damn, she lies to their faces and they just lap it up. Look, I hate...
That's what you're doing. Lying to people's faces. And they're probably going to love it. Your followers... I'll check the downvotes on this after I'm done.
To be the one to bring the truth bombs here. But really, if this is what classes as alt-right journalism, then
whoever... I am unaware of the rebel being alt-right, but if that's what you want to make it, because that's something you're comfortable attacking, and then attacking everyone who supports it, go for it. That's what liberals do.
You're giving the Young Turks a run for their money. Yes, I wonder if any of these people would have been misled if the video was more accurately titled as Violent Anarchist Protests Near Inauguration. And now, you tell me, is there any particular reason why you're describing these anarchists as anti-Trump?
Wouldn't you just assume any protest like this around the inauguration in D.C. during that weekend would have been anti-Trump? I would. Like I said, I would have put this in the same category as the Women's March. But maybe he thinks that wasn't an anti-Trump march, that it was just a female empowerment women's march. Or maybe that's evil feminism. Who knows? Who knows with this guy?
Not say, for instance, as say anti-Hillary or anti-Democrat even. Or even better, how about just calling them what they are? anarchists. I mean, really, would you call an atheist an anti-Christian just because they were raising objections to, say, the story of Abraham? You know, the idea that a father being willing to kill his son because he heard voices in his head is somehow an act of virtue that, you know, good Christians should admire. Now, don't get me wrong, I've been calling out anarchists and hardcore libertarians for almost a decade. I have no sympathy with this "you worship the state like a god" type losers myself. None whatsoever. I mean, I find it hard to believe that some of these signs aren't completely set up. That these people really can't be this dumb, you know, being anarchists along with a communist hammer and sickle.
So I think at this point he is admitting I'm right, and the whole reason he's so bothered about this and then bunkering down into regressive tactics is he's anti-Trump, so he doesn't like them being recognized as anti-Trump. He only sees them as anarchists and is willing to blindly ignore why they're there, what they're against, and I'm just unaware of all of it. Disrupt J20 and the whole bit. Unaware of the Veritas videos. Unaware of all of it. And it's just, in this bunkering down regressive, like, I must distance myself from this. I'm anti-Trump. These are not me. I do not represent them. This is like a black person calling another black person an Uncle Tom or a coon. Like, they have to distance and separate themselves from the bad thing.
Seriously? Sad thing is, I've been on the internet for a while, and I know that there really are people out there who are that dumb. And now, I also know there are people out there who claim to be reporters who have deliberately gone out of their way to portray an anarchist protest, specifically as an anti-Trump protest.
Some people will deliberately go out of their way to, and you can see all the thumbs down on this, will go out of their way to try to badmouth people to protect their identity, their collective identity, their groupthink identity, whether that be trans, Antifa, anti-Trump, however they identify themselves, and they must protect it at all costs, including labeling others, mislabeling others, not even knowing half of what the fuck is going on, and making an 11-minute tirade video on, and the whole gamut. And this is why these people who see themselves as liberal, but don't understand that all of these same liberals, or like these liberal freedoms, are still granted under constitutional conservatism, they've still got this way of thinking. And again, they can all day talk about logic and reason, and I'm so logically reasonable because I don't believe in the Bible, that they're incredibly irrational and insecure, and will just respond on this sort of, I mean, I guess maybe as she's calling them anti-Trump and he sees this shit and doesn't agree with it, he's, just having to, they don't represent me, I'm anti-Trump, they don't represent that, just because those protesters smash shit doesn't mean that's me, Black Lives Matter, like, this is how leftists act. So, hope everyone enjoyed this. Hopefully I'll have a better video to cover. Oh, here's the other thing. Here's some of the artwork from these people. Good night, alt-right. And this shows that they're willing to be violent. And here's the reality of it. When you find out that one guy eats shit, it's like left wing, right wing. These are the people on the left, weirdos, a bunch of fucking weirdos who think Donald Trump is literally Hitler. These are the ones everyone's got to watch out for. They're coming for us. So, thought that would be fun to share. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the interview I got coming later with Martina, and I got another one coming. I got to edit together. It's a lot of big footage, long one. So have a good one, everyone.